You call me a sinner, I call myself a saint. Living the hallelujah, today we close to pray. I'm feeling all happy, don't care about the fame. So now we living like it was the last day. Don't mind the gravity, all the things around. We just focus on what's now. Because tonight we living, tonight we living, tonight we living like it was the last day. Tonight we living like it was the last day. Tonight we living like it was the last day. You call me a sinner, I call myself a saint. Living the hallelujah, today we close to pray. I'm feeling all happy, don't care about the fame. So now we living like it was the last day. Don't mind the gravity, all the things around. We just focus on what's now. Because tonight we living, tonight we living, tonight we living like it was the last day. Tonight we living like it was the last day. Don't mind the gravity, all the things around. We just focus on what's now. Because tonight we living, tonight we living, tonight we living like it was the last day.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to round 8 of the AOR Oceania F1 Championship on Xbox One here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez circuit here in Mexico City. This 2.6 mile circuit is the highest in terms of altitude, but today's drivers obviously won't have nearly as much setup trouble as the real life teams had here in Mexico. I'm Greg Martin, and joining me again is Matt212, and Matt, all eyes will be focused on Ryan and if he can win the championship, and his task has been made ever easier with his team at Mark missing today in unfortunate circumstances to him, with his mother being in hospital. But all he has to do is score 6 points and he's won the championship.
Yeah, only needs, what's that, 7th place today, and I think based on Ryan's past successes in this series, I can't imagine 7th is going to be too difficult for him, but you never know what might happen. Obviously a very, very long run down towards turn 1 around this circuit, and as I saw in a couple of the F2 races last night, it did actually cause a little bit of carnage at the start of the races, so it can bring up some surprise results to this circuit, so we'll have to wait and see about that. He isn't home and dry just yet, and obviously if he can't score those 6 points today, well then Ben is still within a mathematic chance of winning this title.
Exactly right, and Ben will need a perfect last 2 races in Brazil and Abu Dhabi if he's going to clinch the title if Ryan makes a mistake today. But here in qualifying, what are we expecting, Matt? 4 teams?
It'll probably, either be it would probably be high 14s, mid to low 15s, I'd be more inclined to say, on the whole, but still be very, very interesting to see what people are able to do in terms of qualifying pace here today. I think most people are already going straight out on to their first runs here, so obviously there's not too many cars here today as well, which means the track won't get as congested as we usually expect as well. So obviously that does mean that we've probably got chances for some even quicker times coming out from a lot of the drivers today, which is going to be interesting to see what does happen, in all honesty. It'll be interesting as well to see if Renault try to use the slipstream. Obviously not so powerful in this game, but still definitely obviously will be useful. Obviously if you can put that run up down towards turn 1, maybe even between turn 3 and turn 4 as well. But yeah, I think, as you said, low 15s, high 14s maybe coming out of today's qualifying session.
Yeah. And it wouldn't surprise me if these Renaults do slipstream. Warden is coming around the last corner now, and Ryan is on the pit straight. No, he's not. He's a couple of corners ahead. So no, they won't be doing it on this run. But Warden starts his first time lap in qualifying, and he is in max, so he is going for an attack lap straight out of the gates here.
Certainly is. On board with him braking just as you hit that 100 metre point in towards turn 1 there. He's clipped that first apex quite nicely, taking a lot through the second there and just getting that third one absolutely perfectly there. So he's had a good first sector here, and obviously it'll be interesting to see with him around the rest of this lap. Obviously as well, he's mathematically out of the championship if I'm not mistaken, or there might just be, he'll need an almost perfect run between now and the very end. He does still actually, have a shot. He's 60 points behind Ryan, so he'd need to outscore him by 10 today at least to stay within a chance of that championship. But for him, he could still close down on Table Mardik. The gap between those two now, after Ben's mishaps last week, is down to just 16 points. That is certainly a closable gap, obviously, tonight. If he does come second, say behind Ryan, obviously he will be ahead of Ben going into the final 2 rounds of the season, so that could also be a very, very tight battle to watch. But through the final couple of corners then, it seems to have been a very, very hooked up lap by Warden here. Thunk Guru goes up into pole position there with a 1:16.5. Warden is going to do a 1:15.7 there. So he does move up into provisional pole by 0.8 of a second.
Yep, good first lap there from Warden. But yeah, as you said, with Cam Marta missing tonight, it could pave the way for Renault to have a 1-2 in this championship. And if Ryan does it up tonight, I think that'll be the goal for the 2 Renault drivers is to secure a 1-2 in the championship. But here's Ryan on his first lap, heading into the stadium section. And it's been a good lap so far from him. Looks pretty clean, neat and tidy. Come around the last corner now. A 1:15.7 is the time Ryan has to beat to put his car on provisional pole, and he does by 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, very, very, I must say, from Ryan there. Obviously, usually with the way the track rubbers in and things, they will go a bit quicker on their second runs, and as we said, obviously if they do opt to use the slipstream on their second laps as well, then obviously that could be very, very interesting. I'm trying to look to see who is actually on runs at the moment. I think I saw Mercedes
Neon
fairly
Trudeau.
quickly.
Yeah, Neon
Yeah, he's
Trudeau on the
certainly-
lap at the moment.
He's certainly pushing that Mercedes car to the limits. He's currently up in P3, the final runner, to get into the 1 minute 15 here as he comes now down in towards this stadium section here. Brilliant, brilliant part of this circuit, I must say. You know, it's so different to what we see around most of the Formula One tracks. But through the final corner, they're going to make sure he's nice and early on the traction, and I think he dives into the pit lane there. So whether he was up on time and just obviously doesn't want to reveal all his cards just yet, we'll have to wait and see. But that was looking like a good run from him, as I think we've got DRC Jared coming actually on a run as well.
Yeah, and he's 2/10 up on, I'm not sure if it's Ryan's time or if it's one of his own times, but he hasn't set a time, so unless it's one of his invalidated lap times, we'll have to wait and see. But as he comes around the last corner now, bit tail happy the car there, but he puts his Toro Rosso into 4th, the 116 flat, just ahead of Aaron. And look at the margin between 4th, 5th and 6th, Matt. Just 300ths of a second.
That is very, very tight to say. Yeah, I think that certainly it means that we should hopefully get some very close racing between that little group. Obviously behind the two Renaults and down to P6 there, it's all looking very, very tight, as you said. 1/10 of a second separating 3rd to 6th there, which is quite a little surprise. Interestingly though, I noticed I'm Death Row has actually retired from the session. I'm not too sure why that was, but he seemed to retire very, very early on there. Master Berserk though, coming through the final corner now. I think he's also diving into the pit lane there, so he's the only driver left to have not set a lap here, so it's going to be interesting to see when everyone does go out on their second runs, because we may have just a couple of minutes where the track is very, very quiet.
Yeah, I'm Death Bro had a qualifying ban for this race after his intentional retirement from the United States Grand Prix last weekend. Stewart felt like his retirement was deliberate and not called for.
That is fair enough then. We're on board though with, I think, Funk Guru is currently the only driver out on track here, so I think a lot of drivers will be geared up and ready to go on to the second run. Now, I've just seen a Ferrari pop out of the pits. Who was that? That must have been Funk Guru's teammate there. Just trying to have a look. It is Jetson F1.
Jetson, yeah.
So both Ferraris now appear to be the only cars on the track. I think a couple more people are now starting to exit the pit lane as well, because personally this is something that I like to do. On my second run, I usually try to go for 2 laps, or give myself enough time to go for 2 laps. Because obviously around Mexico as well, it's so easy to trim an apex too much, run a tiny bit wide. Obviously if you give yourself that time, that little bit extra fuel, so you can try and make the second lap as well, even potentially, you know, if you just want to make another improvement, it can, in personal opinions, certainly be worth it around here. I think there's not many cars. Funk Guru has actually come back into the pits, so clearly wasn't happy with the car at that point, or maybe accidentally invalidated his next lap or something. So he may have just be coming back into the pits for now. But yeah, still very, very quiet at this moment in time. Just trying to have a look around the circuit.
Yeah, no one's on laps at the moment. Jetson is going to be the first driver to start his second run. He comes around the last corner now. But yeah, with myself, and Jetson actually pits. I don't know what's happened there. He must have got a next lap invalidation somewhere on his out lap. Not much action going on.
I think
Very
Neon
quiet.
Trudeau is the only driver that's just gone on to a lap there. So
yes,
it might be a
Neon
good idea
Trudeau.
to stay on board with him.
Yep. Mercedes driver currently 3rd fastest. He needs to find just under 4/10 of a second if he's to put his Mercedes on provisional pole. And he may have cut turn 2 there. But I think he may have gotten away with it, considering he hasn't backed out of it at all. As he heads to
he's
the first
still-
sector now. The 28.4.
Yeah, definitely. That was close to being an invalidated lap. I would have thought if it wasn't, that is. But in terms of the championship standings, I'm just having a look at where we do find Neon Tredo at the moment. He is... Oh, was that a little bit of a mistake from him?
Yeah, he's got his lap invalidated.
Not ideal from him. He is currently... He's currently P12 in the standings on 8 points. So obviously if he was able to get that result today, that would massively, massively help him overall in the standings. Obviously, with quite a few of like the high drivers and just generally such a small field here today, it would be really, really ideal, you know, for some of these guys a little bit lower down to really take home some big points in this round of the season. Just 2 rounds to go, obviously, after this one, as we go on board with Neon Tredo going. As I said, you know, the ideal thing to do is go for 2 runs in case you miss up the first one. And, well, that's what he's been able to do today. I think we've not got either Renault particularly close either, so it doesn't appear that they're going to be trying to slipstream.
No, it doesn't. But as you say on the championship standings today, with HO, Prozza both missed, and Master Berserk can consolidate 4th place in the championship. And if Aaron has a good result today, he might be able to leapfrog Prozza into 6th place. I'm sure they will have their own personal fights they want to achieve before the end of the season, and the drivers who turn up today would obviously want to maximise on that, considering there's a huge amount of people away today. But on board with Neon Tredo, coming through this fast complex of corners here. It's not the... I don't really like that part of the track personally, but some drivers do, and he's a tenth up on his time at the moment to the end of the 2nd sector. Just a handful of corners to go. Neon Tredo improve his time, and if he does, can he improve the 3rd place? Around the last corner he comes, slides that Mercedes around, and what can he do? He improves, but stays 3rd fastest.
Yeah, very, very close between him and Warden right there, but obviously we've got to remember Warden is now on a run. Master Berserk has retired from the session though, so he has another lap. So whether he's trying to go for a little bit of an interesting strategy in terms of the tyres, obviously will mean that he could potentially go, if I'm not mistaken, onto a harder compound of the tyres for the start, as he has not set a run, but this is probably going to be happy hour now. We've got Ryan on a lap, we've got Warden on a lap, we've got Jared on a lap. Aaron is just coming through the final corner here to finish off his lap in the Force India. Will he improve? No, he does not. He holds on to P5 for now. Trying to look around, I think we've got Ryan is coming out of the final corner. Does he improve? Obviously on pole position at the moment. Yes, he does. Another 0.2 of a second found in that Renault car. 1:15.3. Whether Warden is going to be able to find that 3.5 tenths as he comes through the final corner himself. Oh, very, very close there. Just half a tenth separates the 2 Renault cars. Jared over the line. He goes up into P3 there, so that is a very, very good lap from him as Jetson F1 retires from the session there.
Crazy end to the session there. Obviously the 2 Renault boys stretching their legs a little bit. On pole is New Zealand Ryan from Warden 99. Just half a tenth in it between the 2 Renault drivers. But Jared in 3rd, Neon Tredo, and good effort for him up in 4th. Aaron invalidated his lap time. He did a 15.7, but obviously invalidated to a 16.0. Jetson, Funguru, and Berserk and Death with that qualifying ban not setting a time.
Predictions, who wins for the race victory? Who we think?
Has to be Ryan. Has to be Ryan.
We're going to put the money on Ryan, are we? I'm going to go with Warden then.
Warden? A dark horse? You reckon someone can spice it up at all? Other than the 2 Renault boys? I reckon.
Well, potentially if DRC Jared gets a good run down towards Tom, we could see him really be able to get in the mix there as well. And obviously, as we said, such a long run to turn 1, there is certainly a good chance that he will be able to do that. But yeah, I think we're just waiting now for the cars on the grid, and we should be good to go.
Yep. It'd be interesting to see what the strategy is also for today. It looks like a 2-stop, actually. Might be the way to go for this track. Some drivers have been saying, but we'll wait and see if that remains the case. But he's waiting for the last couple of drivers to ready up, and we can get this Mexican Grand Prix underway. Sunny conditions for the race, so it looks like at the moment no threat of rain. But we don't know if that means he will stay dry for the whole race. But here we go. 5 red lights ahead of these drivers. And away we go. And it's a good start from Ryan. And he's going to cover Warden, is he? Into the first corner? No. Warden goes down the inside and Warden takes the lead at this race. Slipstreaming everyone further back. Jared looked like he's going to go down the inside of Ryan as well. Into the first corner we go. It's the 2 Renaults from Jared. The Ferrari's there further back. But as we head down towards turn 4, start from, and he's leading this.
Oh, I think we may have been a couple of connection issues there with Greek, but yeah, Warden has been able to jump that start there from his teammate Ryan. DRC Jared still holds on to P3 though. Funk Guru has done a fantastic job there. He's the biggest winner from the start of this race. He's all the way up from P7 all the way up to P4 there. He jumped Tridom, Aaron and Jetson on their massive Berserk, and I'm Deathbro still hold on in the very back of the field there. And interestingly enough, Deathbro has actually gone on to a set of the super soft tires to start this Grand Prix, so whether it's going to try and make that one stop work potentially, we'll see if a lot of the drivers around him cannot make that strategy work. Obviously, generally with obviously the harder compounded tires this year, you can usually make one stop possible, but maybe not today. Maybe we'll have to wait and see about that, but it's still very, very close between the top 3. There are 3-second gap for the cars behind already here after just 1 lap. I think Master Berserk made a bit of a mistake there. They're 3 wide down between P4 and P6 here. What is going to happen down towards someone there? I think the Ferrari is going to be able to hold on the Force India though, right side by side with the Mercedes car. I think he's just going to be able to hold on to that as well. Aaron picks up a time penalty there as we now find both Force Indias side by side out of turn 2 there. I think we're going to see Funk Guru diving into the pits onto a set of the soft compound tyres. That is very, very interesting to see how far he'll be able to go in this Grand Prix there. But Master Berserk still down in P8 here, but having a look further up the field though, we've still got the top 3 very, very close between them now, and we've almost formed into 2 groups almost instantly there. We've got the top 3 already 4 seconds clear of the cars behind him. That is certainly not something we see very often, but especially around a circuit like this, obviously through this second sector, if you get caught up, it can really, really cost you so much time here. Aaron is holding on to P6. Deathbro tried to have a look down the inside there. I think he might still be trying to look past the the Force India car there, sorry, as they come through the stadium section there. Just Aaron shuts the door on that one there, as I think Master Berserk's going to try right around the outside there. That is certainly not the usual overtaking place there, as Aaron dives into the pit. So that is a very, very interesting strategy call from him. We've still got a bit of slipstreaming going on. I think Ryan and Warden and Jared are sort of holding stations for now, but the guys behind, we've got Deathbro and Master Berserk side by side once again here down towards 10-1. Who is going to make that position stick? Deathbro trying to look right around the outside there and take the curbs. He picks up a time penalty himself, and now I think we've got Master. He has held on, sorry, to P6 for now in the Grand Prix, but down this second DRS straight. DRS not enabled just yet. They will get it at the end of slap on the start of lap 4. Obviously, with the way the detection works around this circuit, means that Master Berserk is able to hold on for now. Was Aaron picked up a 5-second stop-go penalty there for corner cut? That's certainly not something you want to see in these races here. But Neon Tridom still all over the back of Jetson there. We've got Ryan all over the back of Warden as they come into the stadium section here to finish off lap 3 of this race. I'll see if obviously he's still all over the back of that car, so this could be very, very interesting. Now with the DRS as well, obviously we'll give him that added benefit down this long front stretch to try and potentially make that move. He's going to duck into the slipstream, understandably so. Warden going very, very defensive down towards turn 1 here. He has got the slipstream, he has got the DRS there. Warden is falling back to the outside line here. Is Ryan going to be close enough to make a lunge? No, he is not. And really, obviously for him, there is absolutely 0 point in risking it here. Obviously, if Warden makes a mistake, then he can pick up the pieces. But yeah, as we've said, you know, it doesn't really benefit either of these guys if obviously Ryan is able to make that move, because in the worst case scenario, well, obviously they make contact and they both then come away from this race with any points. In the best case scenario, well, Warden jumps Ben and Ryan wraps up the title there. And obviously, no matter which way around these two finish today, well, that could happen if obviously they finish in P1 and 2. But Jared is still holding on in there. He's trying to keep up with these two Renault cars just up ahead of him through this second sector. I don't think he's going to be able to do anything just yet. Ryan is trying to look to the outside of Warden here, though. He certainly isn't just going to let this position lie there. Warden just about shuts the door, though, as they come into the stadium section there. But nothing to separate these two Renault cars at this stage of the race here as they come through the final corner here. Are we going to see Ryan get a bit of better traction there? I think they basically got equal runs out of that final corner there. And now with the slipstream, with the DRS once more here, what is going to happen between these two on long run down towards someone? They can just see Brian, though. I don't know if he's running ever so slightly higher wings, but he just isn't able to get close enough on that run down towards turn 1 there. So that is a very, very big surprise there. Jared, as we said, still holding in, as we've got, I think that's Jetson F1 and Neon Tridome just behind, going side by side here through the first couple of corners. Jetson in the Ferrari is able to hold on for now, but I think Neon Tridome is going to get a little bit better traction on the exit of the corner. They're going to be side by side. We have got Neon Tridome with the DRS there, which will give him that tiny help in hand. But I think, yeah, Jetson keeps it down the inside there. That's going to leave Neon Tridome on the inside through the next 3 corners there. He completely, well, nearly drops it entirely through the next corner there. And I think Jetson is going to be able to hold on to P4 in that Ferrari for now. But this is certainly not over yet. Still trying to keep on board with the front battle as well, though. So we seem to have a little bit of action going up and down the field at this early stage of the Grand Prix here as we come out through this stadium section once more here. We're already almost a sixth of the way through this Grand Prix here, so the time is certainly flying as they come out of the final corner. Ryan really trying to push as much as possible here now with the slipstream, with the DRS once more. He started off a little bit closer there, but you can see on the intervals he's just losing time down this straight, and that is a real surprise to see between these two Renault cars. So I don't know, as I said, if they're running ever so slightly different setups here or what, but it's helping Jared. He's keeping up with the pair of them at this moment in time, so potentially this Renault 1-2 isn't all said and done just yet. Obviously still very, very early days in this Grand Prix, whether we'll see split strategies as well as Neon Tridome picks himself up a 3-second time penalty as well. Guru and Aaron, though, both appear to be very, very lonely in this race. If I'm not mistaken, Aaron, he could be fairly close to being lapped very, very soon in this race, which I don't think certainly would not help him out in the early stages of this evening. Could be a very, very long evening, a very, very lonely evening for P8 and P9 in this race, but the battles just ahead of them are still going on as we come through Sector 2 here. You can see all these cars, obviously no real chance to overtake here as they come through this long flowing section of this circuit. Yeah, just obviously no way obviously you really want to risk making an overtake this early on, and especially with how few people are here tonight. Obviously they still really want to take the points. Warden, though, dives into the pits and picks himself up a 5-second stop-go penalty there, so that's certainly not ideal for him. Going to be interesting to see what tyres he does go on to as well in this Grand Prix. And interestingly, though, as well, does he come out in free track space? I think we've got a couple more drivers in the pits. Jetson F1 dives in as well onto a set of these super soft compounded tyres there. So I think, yeah, that all but confirms that these guys are going for a 2-stop race here today. And that is very, very interesting to see as we've got further up the field. Sort of all has simmered down a little bit here, as you can see, on to lap 7 of this race. No cars within 1 second of each other now. I think this is the chance for Brian where he needs to absolutely push like crazy. And then he'll pit at the end of this lap. Obviously, he'll know Warden now has got that time penalty there, so Warden is going to try and pit again in this race. That means obviously Brian will get a free 5 seconds later on, as long obviously as he doesn't cut that chicane. Dives it into the pits with a little bit too much speed here as we come on board with him through this stadium section here. Already nearly 8 laps done of this Grand Prix out of the final corner. Is he going to get into the pits? No, he does not there. So Ron is staying out for a couple more laps. He's going to try and use these ultra softs as much as possible there. Jared does the same. Is Neon Tridome up in P3 going to try and copy this as well? Yes, he does. So the top 3, top 4, top 5 obviously all staying out at this moment in time. So potentially some split strategies coming out today. Warden and Jetson, it looks like maybe their 2-stop strategy might be already looking like the way to go in this race. But interesting, if these guys ahead are able to make this 1-stop work, then this could really open up this race as well. Potentially we could see Warden trying to fight his way back through the field. But for now, Ryan leads a 1.4 second gap over Jared in P2. Neon Tridome 10 seconds back in P3 here. Massive Berserk now within 1 second of the Mercedes driver here. And I think by sort of back lap 8, lap 9, we could potentially see this set of these super soft tyres really start to come into their own against the ultra soft runners there. Ryan though has picked up a 3-second time penalty, so that might be a little bit of help for Warden here. Get a little bit of that motivational boost, obviously, after he's taken his penalty. It means if he gets within a couple of seconds of Ryan, then he could still take home this race victory here as Master Berserk is just on board with him there. He's attacking the curves through that middle sector here, trying to get close to Neon Tridome here. It appears to be one of the main places for action as we come through the final few corners of this race. Already 25% through this Mexican Grand Prix here and now of the final corner. It appears that he's just not going to be able to get as good traction as Neon Tridome there, doing a very, very good job to hold on to that P3 for now. He's doing everything he needs to. Warden just behind while he's setting fastest lap of the Grand Prix. 1 minute 18.3 there. Very, very quick lap from him, and I think he's trying to have a look at who's doing what just around him there. See what is going on in terms of the time penalties here, but as you can see, Master Berserk though all over the back of Neon Tridome here, and I think this is going to be where we're going to have to stay on board with for a bit. This seems to be the only sort of close battle brewing on the circuit as of right now though. That Force India almost pushing the Mercedes as they come in towards this second sector. They're all over the back of him, trying to find any space. Obviously, if he can't make this move now, he may struggle to make it anywhere now between the end of here and the end of the lap. And yeah, he's probably going to have to stick behind now. The dirty air though can cost you so much time around this circuit. Is he going to be able to keep it hooked in nice and tidy there? Neon Tridome running a little bit wide as well through that couple of corners, which may help Master Berserk out ever so slightly. If you can just see on those intervals there, Master Berserk is just losing so much time in that dirty air through this second sector here, and this is certainly not what he would have wanted there, but he might be able to get a bit of a better run out of this final corner there. They both dived into the pit lane there, so that is interesting to see from the Force India and the Mercedes car. They're fishtailing all the way in there from Master Berserk. They just shred those tyres as much as you can as you get to the India stint, but that means Warden moves up into P4 of this Grand Prix behind Deathbro, who is up into P3. Ryan and Jared have opted to stay out for another lap there. Funk Guru picks up a 3-second time penalty as well, as Jetson F1 is able to hold on to provisional P4, I think, at this stage of the race. Obviously, he's still got Deathbro that was behind him that should come out behind him as well, as obviously the top two should logically come out just ahead of Jetson F1 here. But Neon Tridome have come out in P6. Master Berserk there has, interestingly enough, taken a set of the soft compound tyres. So maybe he's trying to go a little bit longer in this race. Whether he'll be able to make that work is a very, very different question here. But we could see some interesting strategies coming out, as I think Warden now is closing up leaps and bounds to the back of I'm Deathbro here. Could he make that position work very, very soon? We shall have to wait and see. As of just yet, obviously he really can't afford to sit in this dirty air, as Ryan now dived into the pits. Jared does the same, so it's now going to be very, very interesting to see where Warden does come out relative to these two here, and I think he's going to come out a little bit ahead of the pair. Ryan is still in his pit box here, so Warden, yeah, is certainly going to jump these two there, and by quite some margin as well. As you can see, they're not even at the pit lane here, and Warden, but he needs to jump Deathbro now as they come down towards turn 1 here on this lap. Is he going to make that? Yes, he does. He commits there. A very, very late lunge from him, just like we saw last week out at USA, when he now moves up into the lead of this race here, and that is absolutely crucial for him. But look at that, he's come out with an 8-second gap to Ryan behind. Then Jared has come out even further back there, so clearly both of them losing out a whole host of time there. But whether they're going to be able to make that one-stop work is going to be interesting to see, as I think Greek Master still having a few connection issues here. This is certainly not ideal. I think, are you back in Greek just yet, or are we still?
I'm in the.
Still
I can talk. Hello.
I
can talk. I'm just not in the lobby, so I can't see the race.
Yeah, I think hopefully we can try and get you back in here, but Warden is still holding on to this lead. And if you have a look actually at the lead time, we've got Ryan, who is 8 seconds back now, near enough from his teammate there, and obviously with that 3-second time penalty for Ryan as well, and the potential that Warden could be a whole lot quicker towards the end of the Grand Prix. Maybe this race has taken another turn. Potentially Warden could could potentially take this race victory still. Maybe my prediction could be right by the very end of this race, but still 24 laps to go of this race. Now, basically everyone has made their first pit stop, bar I'm Death Row that holds on to P2 in that Williams car. As of right now in this race, Ryan is still in P3 with Jared in P4. Jetson F1 has actually closed up a whole chunk. These two just ahead of him. Obviously, he did have that undercut strategy. That obviously meant that he was going to be able to gain quite a bit of time to the pair of them here. But that's been quite interesting. We found him before the pit stops, a good sort of 7-8 seconds back from Jared there, and the gap now down to just under 3 there, 2 3/4 seconds to the Toronto just ahead of the Ferrari here. So this is quite interesting to see. But once again, it appears that it's looking a little bit quiet around the circuit. Warden still leads the way with Death Row P2, 3 seconds back. Ryan is a further 4.7 seconds back from him as Jared picks up a time penalty down. That certainly will not help him, but it means he's back on equal terms with Ryan in this race. Jetson F1 rolling on to P5 for now. Neon Tridome in P6. Masters in P7. Funk Guru still a long way back, just over 20 seconds back from the car ahead of him there, and he might have a little bit of company from Ryan in a few laps there, as he's now made his second pit stop of the Grand Prix, so maybe a 3-stop coming out from Aaron in this race as well. But yeah, it seems that it's simmered down just a little bit for now, and I think we're going to spend the next few laps waiting for these strategies to all format, and then we'll sort of see with maybe 5-10 laps to go of this race what the strategy is looking like and who is looking like they are in a strong position towards the end of this Grand Prix. Still though, trying to go on board with a couple of different drivers here, and there just seems, no one. It's a bit odd, you sort of just expect around this Mexican circuit, obviously, with so many long straights here, obviously everyone to sort of stay a bit more bunched up, but with the way the slipstream works on F1 2017, and how dependent it is on people's wing angle and things, I think we're certainly not seeing the race that I think personally I may have predicted coming out into today. Master Berserk though picks up a 3-second time penalty. I'm actually going to have a look, quick flick through absolutely everyone there. Warden has not got a single warning so far today. He's just got that stop go from obviously speeding in to the pit lane there. We've got I'm Death Row, who's on 1 penalty and 2 warnings. New Zealand Ryan is on a penalty and 2 warnings. CRC Jared is on a penalty and a warning. Jetson F1 is on 2 warnings. Tridom, 2 penalties and 2 warnings there, so he may have to keep it clean if he doesn't want to get disqualification. Berserk is now on a penalty, as I just said, but Guru is just on a penalty as well, and Aaron is on 2 penalties as well as and a stop go. So interesting to see, obviously, the way this race is shaping up at the moment here. Ryan though is closing up to New Zealand Ryan here. Ryan is closing up to Death Row here. I'd be impressed if he was closing in on himself. That would certainly be an interesting battle, I think, to watch. But yeah, he's certainly making big inroads on the Williams car just ahead of him. Obviously, on a much fresher compound tyres, generally as well, a much quicker driver than the Williams car just ahead of him here. So potentially, obviously, we predicted Ryan to be fighting with a Williams car today, but obviously maybe this one wasn't the one that I think a lot of people wanted to see the battle between. But through this second sector here, and obviously with such a fresher compound of tyres here, Ryan is just making so many big inroads on the Williams car just ahead of him here. Maybe we could see that the Williams one to the Renault 1-2 coming back here through this section once more. They're all over the back of this Williams car. They're through the final sector. Obviously, no real need to take too many big risks as of right now here. Out of the final corner, Death Row does opt to stay out once again here now. Down over the finish line here, we will have the slipstream. He will have the DRS. But I don't think, Williams of Death Row there was not really going to try and make anything of that there. I think he could just concede the position, know that obviously this car ahead of him now is just that bit quicker. There is no real point in trying to defend that position as of now, but he finds himself still 7 seconds back from his teammate Warden here. Obviously, he has got that penalty. He has got another pit stop to make, and whether Brian will have to do the same, yet to wait and see. Maybe Ryan is going to go for a soft ultra set in this Grand Prix, so we'll have to wait and see as of right there. But having a look further down the field, as you can see, having a look on the timings, it appears that potentially next battle we could see on track could be DLC Jared trying to close up on Death Row here, but it's interesting as well to have a look how far has, well, Death Row has obviously been able to take those tyres right through from the very start of this race. I think, unfortunately, we can't see I don't think we can see what tyre wear he is on right now, but those tyres just visually are looking very, very worn at this stage of the race here. So this is certainly very, very interesting to see from Williams' car. Is he going to dive into the pits? Yes, he does that right on cue. Thank you very much. Make me look just a little bit better there as he dives it down into the pit lane there. So I presume he's going to go onto a set of these soft tyres here towards the end of that Grand Prix. And that's very, very useful to know that obviously these tyres, yes, he does, but these tyres, therefore, as he seems to be stopped, that seemed like an oddly long hold there. I'm not too sure what that was all about, whether that was just a tiny bit laggy or what there. I don't think he had a 5-second time penalty. But yeah, he did appear to get held up in the pit lane there, just a little bit. But Death Row, therefore, comes out in P7 here of this Grand Prix. Very, very low in P7. He finds himself, well, 13 seconds from the car, behind 14 seconds ahead of the Ferrari car that's behind him there, of Funk Guru here. So Ryan and Warden back up into P1 and 2 of this Grand Prix. Ryan may be able to make this a one-stop race. Warden, it's going to be a little less likely for him. He's going to be able to stretch this out, but obviously we'll have to wait and see. Obviously those tyres can make about 16 laps, so we could see him pit around lap 23, lap 24. So we could see Ryan, we could see Warden even go onto a set of the super soft tyres again. We could see him try and risk a set of the ultra soft tyres towards the end of this Grand Prix, but it appears now that the gap between him and Ryan is actually coming down just a bit. It was 17 seconds just a couple of laps ago, so potentially we could see a little bit of a battle come between these two over the next few laps as well, but obviously we'll have to wait to see as of right now what will happen between these two. Obviously still flicking through the field. I think Massive Zerk and Neon Treat are probably the next two closest cars on the track as of right now. Massive Zerk, obviously we saw a little bit of battling between these two earlier on, and well, maybe we could see a little bit more action coming between these two over the next few laps of these Grand Prix as well. But still, yeah, it seems once again we've just got a little bit of quiet time in this race, just like we saw in qualifying. We just seem to get phases where everything seems to sort of simmer out a bit, and then hopefully it will come to the boil once more later on in this race. Ryan, though, is closing that gap toward the gap on the start of this lap was about 5.5, 6 seconds here, but now, as you can see, coming through this stadium section, the gap is now down to just 5 seconds here. So maybe, obviously, Ryan's tyres obviously a whole lot fresher. They'll probably start to come into their own just a bit, as well as generally I think sort of can be accepted. He does probably have a tiny bit of race pace advantage over his teammate here, but the gap 5.1 at the end of that lap, so he's certainly making inroads there. As you can see, further back we've still got, well, we've got Trido and Berserk. Potentially we could see a little bit of a battle come between these two again. We've got the other Force India of Aaron here, who's trying to close up to Funk Guru there, so we could potentially be seeing a battle between those two over these next couple of laps of this Grand Prix here. But yeah, just let's see what we can find overall in terms of this race. I'm going to see if we can have a look at the positions changes as we try and find anything sort of to see at this point of the race. Warden obviously up 1, Ryan down 1, Jetson F1 is up 2, Treedome is down 1, Master Zut is up 2, Death Row is up 2, Funk Guru is down 1 after that fantastic start to this race. Unfortunately, it's all really gone pear-shaped for him, as Aaron is down 4 places at this stage of the race there. So certainly interesting. Obviously, we've only got DRC Jared that's held on to his track position from the very start of this Grand Prix. But Ryan, once again, on the end of lap 18, we reached the halfway stage of this Grand Prix. The gap now is down to under 5 seconds here, so he hasn't taken out that much time this lap, but he is still certainly closing down that gap slowly but surely, I think, to Warden at this stage of the race. And obviously knowing that Warden has got to make another pit stop here, he doesn't really need to sort of, he's probably better off, like I feel he's doing at the moment, just trying to keep those tyres in good stead rather than trying to just close it to Warden as much as possible, you know, push those to the absolute limit there as he goes for a big double lockup in towards someone there. That certainly will not be helping him out, as I think we've got Neon Treedome is now in the slipstream and within DRS range just about now of Jetson F1. He wasn't able to get it on the start of that lap, but maybe we could see him get it by the end of this lap as they come through the first few corners here on board with the Mercedes car trying to close up to that Ferrari. And obviously we certainly saw a whole lot in the real life F1 2017 season there as the Mercedes very, very late on the brakes there, closing up that gap to Jetson F1. Obviously, if I'm not mistaken, he did pit a little bit later as Ryan there picks up another 3-second time penalty, so he's still clearly pushing just a little bit at this starting to if he picks up too many penalties, well, Gordon obviously still yet to get the first penalty of the day if you exclude that stop go, so he still could easily get within there. Tridome picks up the 3-second time penalty there just as I go on board with him, but he's making big inroads on the Ferrari car just ahead of him, so maybe on lap 19, lap 20 of this race, you could see very, very close action once again. The Mercedes obviously got to focus now on getting a good run out of that final corner here, braking just as you see the shadow on the exit of the stadium there, and out now of the final corner here. Potentially this could help Master Berserk get a little bit closer to the pair of them here as well with the slipstream with the DRS there. Neon Tridome all over the back of Jetson F1. He is closing in slowly but surely here. Is he going to go for a bit of a lunge down towards someone there? No, he does not. Bails out nice and early there. Make that abundantly clear to the Ferrari driver just ahead of him that he was not going to be able to make that move as of just yet here. So maybe once again running a bit higher wings than the Ferrari car just ahead of him here. This is very, very interesting to see though, but the gap between Ryan and Warden is down to just 4 seconds now. So as I said, very, very interesting to see when will Warden dive it in for his second pit stop of the day, but I think we're going to stay on board at the moment. Funk Guru dives into the pits onto a set of the super soft tyres, so he's probably going to be set to try and go between now and the end of this Grand Prix here. It's still Neon Tridome all at the back of this Ferrari car. He's going to have to make that position work sometime soon, or obviously we'll find Master Berserk could close in absolutely match with that. Warden though notably dives into the pits onto that second set of the super soft tyres here. Ryan back up into the lead of this Grand Prix. Warden obviously will take that 5-second stop go. Where is he going to come out relative to the rest of the field here? I just saw a car flick past the exit of the pit lane here. Jason's going to come out ahead of him. Tridome is going to come out of him. Master Berserk is going to come out of him there. So Warden is going to come out in P6 there, actually in a good little bit of clean air for him. So as long as obviously he doesn't get caught up in the battling just ahead of me of Tridome and Jetson F1, Tridome picks up another 3-second time post there. So he's getting a little bit close, I feel, to potentially, the stewards might think about pulling over that car there, but he thinks about going for a move down the inside of Jetson. Jetson just braking a bit later into the corner there. Doesn't quite clip the apex there, but he holds on to the position. I think that is going to be a little bit more crucial for him at this stage of the day. Master Berserk though, well, he must just be licking his lips at this point. Because potentially he's closing up a huge amount of time to these two cars just ahead of here, so maybe we could see him get a whole lot closer over these next couple of laps if these two do fight there. Tridome has got a fantastic run here. Maybe he could have a look down the inside into the stadium section. No, he thinks better of it once more there, so he's clearly biding his time. Doesn't want to make too many risky moves there. Runs endless stuff starting into the back of the Ferrari car there. Doesn't pick up any damage from that for now, but he does hold on to before Jetson dives into the pits though. So that is certainly going to give Tridome a little bit of a chance to stretch his legs. It's going to be interesting to see where Jetson does come out. Warden therefore moves back up into P5 of this Grand Prix, but now Master Berserk has got the DRS on Neon Tridome there, so maybe Jetson has done just about enough to help that force in the car get that little bit closer to the Mercedes just ahead of him here. Going on board though with Ryan, actually you can see he's actually running a little bit low on the fuel at the moment. According to this, if he were to pit now, he'd come out still behind his teammate Warden, so I think we'll obviously see him try to stretch this set of the soft compound as far as he possibly can. But really for him, there is no point risking getting a puncture, say towards the end of this race, excuse me. But obviously it'll be interesting to see what he does obviously opt to try and do there. Obviously he is still running that lean reps. He has got a tiny little bit of fuel in the pocket potentially if he does need to push, but Funk Guru there is setting the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. I think, well, Aaron, he might be watching his mirrors very soon there, as we've actually got Warden having a look down the inside of Master Berserk there. Unfortunately we caught that very, very late on, but he made that move into the stadium section there. Very, very good move from him. Quite a critical move as well, as now he's all over the back of Neon Tridome here through the final corner of this lap. And I think Tridome, yeah, he's not even going to try and defend that position. No real point in doing that for him. He may as well focus on the Force India car behind there, Warden. Obviously, with the DRS once more, he's going to be able to move past that Mercedes there. I don't think, though. Yeah, I think Master was just about able to get that DRS once more there. So he's holding on to that DRS range as of right now. But interesting to see what is going to happen between these two towards the end of this race here. Deathbro still holding on to P6. Obviously, he is hoping to go through to the end of this race, but obviously he's picked up a fair few penalties. We could see a battle between him and Jetson F1 towards the end of this race, as potentially he could get a whole lot closer there. Fun Guru, though, I think he'll only really be sort of watching his mirrors from Aaron just behind at this stage of the day. But Warden, he's now got to try and close up that 9-second gap to DRC Jared here. Ryan, though, as we said, he's got that 6 seconds worth of time penalties. I can have a quick look. Does Warden have any time penalties? No, he does not. He's got one warning, and that was at the end of the lap there. So that is fantastically, so cleanly driven by Warden here, just proving how much confidence he has got in this car at this stage of the day there. Fun Guru picks up another 3-second time penalty there as we now move in. Lap 24, Warden, fastest lap of the Grand Prix of 1 minute 17.4 there. That is certainly a very, very quick lap from him, and obviously Ryan will see that flash up on the screen today, and that will mean really, he's got that 19-second lead as of right now, but obviously he's got a good few seconds of penalties there. I'll check how many Ryan is on. If I'm not mistaken, it is 6 seconds worth. Yes, it is 6 seconds, and an extra warning there. So Warden, he's got to close in a second per lap here between now and the end of the Grand Prix. That would leave him just, 6 and a bit seconds back, so maybe just a tiny bit more than that between now and the end of this race here. So that could be very, very interesting here. And I think, honestly, trying to keep track of all these time penalties, they can only focus on a few cars at the time, the real ones that may have big swings in the Drivers' Championship here. Though DRC Jared still holding on between these two. He's had a very, very quiet race for him. I think he's been right, obviously, at the very front of this race all day long, but obviously he just hasn't been close enough to really challenge Ryan. And obviously Warden on that split strategy just he could potentially be closing up to him over these next few laps. Maybe we could see a little bit of a battle between these two right towards the end of this Grand Prix. It's going to be interesting to see Neon Tridome, Master Berserk both diving in to the pit lane there on the end of lap 24 there. So that's interesting to see from the power of them. I wonder if they're going to set the Ultras or another compound. Well, we can see Master Berserk on a set of the super soft tyres. Tridome has, he's staying ahead of him. Most importantly, he's on a set of the ultra soft tyres there. So interesting from Tridome. He's going to have to really, really try and push that gap. They're going to come out, though, in P6 and P7. They're going to be trying to close up to the back of Jensen F1 over these next couple of laps, as Deathbro still holds on to P4 here. Warden, well, he only was able to take out half a second to his teammate there, Ryan, on that lap. So maybe he's just trying to save himself over these next couple of laps. Maybe he's just going to try and bring home that P3, I think, at this stage of the day here. Greekmaster, hopefully, buddy, you are back in now as well. I'll have a look. No, unfortunately, we're still having more and more connection issues.
Yeah, I can see this.
Greek.
I can see the stream, and it's not too far behind, and I'm still joining sessions. It's annoying. It's frustrating. I don't know what the issue was.
Yeah, sometimes just with the peer-to-peer connection, unfortunately, it does mean that some people simply just cannot connect to the races sometime. And then Ryan, lap 26 of this race, 10 laps to go. Could we be crowning the first AOR APAC champion today? Be very, very interesting. And especially in such the short nature of this championship, that'd be absolutely fantastic from him if he was obviously able. He's been so dominant. Obviously, I don't want to jinx it too early on in this race. Still 10 laps to go, but obviously he has done so well throughout the entirety of this season. Just been so consistently right at the very front, whether it be rain or shine, whether it be around back in Italy at the start of this season or right back down towards Mexico here. Obviously, very different circuits in this season. He has just been right at the very front
throughout all of them so far this season. Warden, though, well, he's still trying to close up that gap to Ryan up the road. He's taken another second out of him on that lap, but the gap now down to, it's hovering around the 17-second mark now. 9 laps to go. He still needs to close up another 11 seconds if he wants to, you know, still fight for this race victory, but he will have one DRC Jared in his way between now and then. On board, though, still, we've got Neon Tridom and Master Berserk. That gap is still hovering around the 1 second mark. I think we'll see Tridom really able to push that gap over these next couple of laps. He's got 2 laps of spare fuel here, so this could be absolute happy hour for Neon Tridom here. Must be, I must admit, you know, when you've got that extra fuel in the tank in the race and everyone else around you is obviously trying to conserve their tyres or whatnot, you know, maybe they're trying to go to the end, maybe they're just having to feel a bit more. Feel almost like a god among men as he sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. 1 minute 17.176 there, so that is a very, very good lap from him, and we could see him closing up to the back of Jetson F1 over these next couple of laps. He certainly must be feeling the pressure very, very soon in this race here. Still, well, I say a long way to go. We've got a quarter of this race still left to go here at this stage of this race, so still potentially a bit of a shake around. I think we've got Funk Guru and, well, we've got Funk Guru and Aaron finally having a little bit of battle. They've both had incredibly lonely races so far, so good to see. Potentially we could see a little bit of action coming between these two. The Ferrari still just ahead. Oh my lord, Aaron goes from very, very far back there. Centre, well, Daniel Ricciardo, let's move down the inside there, but unlike Daniel Ricciardo, not able to make that work as of yet there, but that was certainly a very, very late lunge from Aaron there, but not able to move up into P8 of the race just yet there. He thinks about going for it again there, but that's certainly far too far back to be trying to make those sorts of lunges once more there, and he's going to unfortunately have to hold on to P9 for now at this stage of the race. Warden, though, well, he's taken another second out of Ryan there. The gap now down to 15.7 as we move on to lap 28 of this race, so this is certainly still looking very, very interesting. Jared still is, he's in a bit of an awkward position now because he sort of finds himself in the middle. He's too, obviously for him, he just wants to focus on his own championship here. You know, he wants to bring home some good, decent points at this race. Obviously, it's a good chance for him to score a podium tonight as well. And obviously, I must say that Toro Ross's pace is very, very good on the whole, but he's got Warden breathing down his neck. He's got Ryan trying to pull away even more, so potentially he could be watching his mirrors a little bit more than he may have liked there. But Guru and Aaron still within very, very close quarters here at the stage of the race. I think we may also have Neon Tridom and Jetson F1 a little bit further up the road that could be having a very, very close battle there. Death Row picks up another 3-second time penalty, so potentially he could be losing out on a couple of positions there. You can see that the gap between 4th and 7th is still looking quite tight between all 3 of them, between all 4 of them, sorry, if I can actually maths particularly well there, so potentially penalties could have a real swing towards the end of this Grand Prix there. Walton, well, he's taken another second out of the race leader here, so this is fantastic to see, but maybe it's just a little too late this late on in the race, and obviously he's still got to try and navigate Jared as well, if obviously he can get close enough in the dying stages of this race. Neon Tridom all over the back though of Jetson F1 that doesn't think about going for that move. Excuse me, they're down towards turn 1. They're so close between the pair of here as they come out of turn 3. He will have the DRS once more there, and I don't think he's going to be close enough to make that move just yet. And I must say, Neon Tridom today has been very, very conservative with his overtaking there, which has been, it's been a little bit interesting to see. Obviously there were a couple of places where even I think I'd go for the moves, but he's just held back. He's obviously kept his tyres in good shape. He's got obviously a whole host of fuel to use over these final few laps of the Grand Prix as well there, but still looking interesting from him. When is he going to try and make that move on the Ferrari here as they come through this second sector? He gains massive amounts of time there on the Ferrari. Is he going to have a look down in towards the stadium section? Yes, he does. Keeps it down the inside, but Jetson able to swing it right around the outside there, committed by the pair of there, and Jetson does hold on to that position as of right now. So still a little bit of time left in this Grand Prix. You know, it's not last lap dashes just yet in this race, but still interesting from Tridom here once again. Slipstream DRS, he's just 2 tenths back as they came onto the straight. He's got a much better run down at the Ferrari just ahead of me. Is he going to pull to the inside? Yes, he does. He's going to be side by side in towards the braking zone. I struggle to feel that Jetson, he does hold it right around the outside there. So fantastic move from Jetson there. Squeeze Freedom over the curves there, but he's going to try and get better traction on the exit of the corner here. Jetson is just going to have to go defensive in towards turn 4 here. Is he once again going to try to hold it? Yes, he does so much later on the brakes there, but the Mercedes swings it right around the outside there. We'll have the inside there. Master Berserk is going to be able to slot in just down the inside of the Ferrari there. So unfortunately for him, he's lost 2 places. Excuse me, in 2 corners there for the poor Ferrari driver. And Master Berserk, we could still see some battles coming in between these two. These next couple of laps. Warden is now making the move on TLC Jared there. I don't think Jared is really going to try and do anything to defend from that one there. So he now moves up into P2 of this Grand Prix there. A fairly textbook move made from Warden there. Not really too much, defensive maneuvers from Jared there. And I think he's just obviously going to watch these two battle towards the end of this race. So we'll have one last check of the race director. Just to remind you, Ryan has got 2 penalties and a warning. Warden has still got 1 warning to his name in this race. Jared has got 1 penalty and 2 warnings. Death Row 1, 2 penalties. And Neon Trito 1, 2, 3, 4 penalties to his name there. So potentially he could lose out on a whole host of positions towards the end of this Grand Prix. But Warden now, well, he's got to close up 7 seconds in the final 5 laps of this Grand Prix. This is a tall order for him, but not an impossible one. Obviously, but not better tyres at the end of this race as well. So certainly, it's not over just as of yet. Still having a look though. Fastest lap of the day currently goes to Neon Trito there, and it's actually been very, very spread out. Obviously, with the interesting strategies between all these guys at this stage of the Grand Prix. Ryan though is holding on and doing everything he needs to be potentially crowned the first ever AOR APAC champion here from the Xbox side in Tier 1 here. All it needed was 6 points coming into this race, but obviously he still wants to put a dominant foot on this championship so far. Obviously when Season 2, obviously if Season 2 does come around, I'm sure it's probably building the racing so far this season has been absolutely fantastic. He just wants to make sure he comes in to next season with a very, very strong footing here. Death Row is now under pressure from Neon Trito here as they come onto lap 32 of this Grand Prix. 4 laps to go of this race here. Is Trito going to be close to make a move on the Williams car? The Williams weaving this way and that down that second straight there. Not too extreme, but still obviously not the best thing to be doing here as they come through this second sector here. All over the back of Death Row there. He's going to try and swing it right around the outside there as Death Row plays very, very defensive there. I think Neon Trito, he thinks about going for a move down the inside there. Death Row making sure that he's just not going to be able to make that move stick anytime soon here, and he's going to have to hold back through this middle sector. Just watch though the extra grip, the extra speed that Mercedes is able to carry there as they come now down end towards the stadium section. He's going to have a look right up the inside there. He does park it down the inside there. Death Row once again though able to swing right around the outside there as the Master Berserk, they're 3 wide almost coming into the stadium section there. A little bit of contact made between the Williams and the Mercedes car here as they come now out of the final corner here. I think Master Berserk, this could be very, very tight here, almost NASCAR style. 2x2 out of the final corner there. Master Berserk and Death Row now wheel to wheel here, and Jetson F1 is in the slipstream. He's got the DRS as well. They're going going side by side down towards turn 1 here. We've got the Toro Rosso of Jared there. He's made another pit stop in this Grand Prix as well, but Master Berserk dives it down the inside. Are they going to keep it side by side? Just about there. Fantastic racing as Jetson now is going to try and capitalise on this. Death Row could lose 3 places in the space of half a lap here. That would not be what he would have wanted there. He keeps it down the inside of Jetson and Bun. There, a tiny bit of contact made between the pair of them. Jetson, a very, very aggressive late lunge there down the inside of Death Row there. I can't imagine he's happy with that. It seemed that the door was well and truly shut there, but Jetson able to wrestle it back open there, and he now moves up into P6 of this Grand Prix. Master Berserk up into P5, Trito up into P4 there. As DLC Jared, well, potentially we could see him trying to just go for the fastest lap of the Grand Prix right at the end of this race. So currently in the lean revs, he's certainly just making sure he's got enough spare fuel in the tank. Aaron is a lap down, but he sets fastest lap of the Grand Prix as well now. But Warden The gap now just 10.9 seconds here, so I think, well, unless we see Ryan pick up another couple of penalties, that may all be well and truly done. At the very head of this field here, Master Berserk is still on the back of Treedom here. It seems Death Row, though, has dropped a whole amount of time to Jetson F1 there, so clearly I think his tyres have sort of really just gone away right when he needed them, really coming to their own towards the end of this Grand Prix there. So unfortunate for him as Death Row when he picks up another 3-second time penalty. So maybe, you know, obviously on the track it may all be well and true between a lot of these guys, but potentially off track, you know, obviously with the way the penalties have worked out, we could still see potentially a whole host of changes around in terms of the positions here. Master Berserk all over the back of Neon Treedom here, so maybe his tyres have really sort of seen the best of their days on that Mercedes car there as it comes through sector 2. Berserk all over the curbs there, Treedom all over the shop as they come through. Treedom picks up a 3-second time penalty. Master Berserk, he's not going to be able to make a move into the stadium section there. Gets very, very close to the Mercedes. There's a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact there. He picks up another 3-second time penalty there. Neon Treedom runs very, very deep into the stadium section there, and that is a fantastic move made by the Force India car there. Treedom tries to keep it down the inside though, and I think, well, he's going to have to back out of that place for now, as Master Berserk up into P4 of this Grand Prix from P8 on the grid here. But I don't think this is said and done just to here out of the final corner down this long run. Treedom certainly going to get a much better run there down towards turn 1, and he's going to be able to move back up into P4 of this Grand Prix here. Fantastic to see from him as Ryan. Now the gap is down to less than 10 seconds here, but still Warden needs to close up a bit more time and very, very quickly here. But Treedom and Berserk still fighting here. We thought it was all said and done, but Treedom is able to hold it just right in there at this stage of the Grand Prix, I think. But still, Berserk and Treedom seems to be where the action is at this moment. Jetson F1 could still just be looking behind these two and potentially fancy himself for a move in the dying stages of this Grand Prix. But at the front of the field though, Ryan moves on to the final lap of this race, potentially the lap that wins him this AOR APEC Championship here, as this could be a historical moment, I think. But obviously this new league, AOR APAC, obviously only came in very, very recently there. Obviously AOR forever looking to expand their market into more and more areas around the world. Obviously such a big and renowned name in the league racing community. It only seemed understandable that by now they had leagues, you know, potentially stretching further around the world, obviously mainly in Europe up to this point. But obviously a lot of American people do tend to race as well, obviously due to time zones. Usually Australians, they're either up at 4 AM in the morning or even later than that, obviously just before you get ready for your day, or you go for a bit of an all-nighter in the later parts of the evening there. But on board with Ryan then through in towards the stadium section one final time. He has done everything he has needed to throughout this entire championship. 9 times out of 10 he has kept it clean. He has done everything within his power to come through. That he's always got the better strategy, he's always got the better pace through the final corner, and Ryan is going to become the AOR APAC Split 1 champion. Fantastic job by him there. Warden is going to come through for P2. They're unfortunately not able to make his strategy work right towards the end of that Grand Prix, but he will now find himself 2 points ahead of Team and Marduk there. DLC Jared through the final corner to seal the confetti going off around this circuit there. He's going to come through for P3. I think we've got a little bit of a battle there between Berserk and Treedom there, side by side through the stadium section there. Jared P3, Berserk and Treedom. I think Berserk's been able to do it there, right around the outside once more there. He's going to come through for P4 on the road. The penalties may say something very, very different there. Treedom 5th, Jetson F1 in P6 there. Death Row, I think, is Jetson gets P4 in the end there, so fantastic result for him there. Death Row comes through for P6. Neon Treedom drops all the way down to P7 there. I think the last car going to be on board with is Funk Guru there. He's not really going to have anything to play for here. I don't think anyone's going to have well over 30 seconds worth of time there, so he's just going to come through for P8 in the Grand Prix there. But a fantastic result for Ryan there. I'm sure he'll be very, very happy with that race in the end. An interesting strategy there, and the only time that was in it in the end there was just 2 seconds there. It was only him and Death Row that made one stop work in that Grand Prix there. But fantastic result from Ryan there, and as I said, he does become the inaugural AOR APAC Split 1 Championship there. So congrats to him. Hopefully we'll be able to get him in for interviews there. Hopefully, Greek, you'll stick around to conduct those interviews. Obviously, you were able to catch it on the replay, so hopefully we can still see that. But as I said, Ryan there does win that Grand Prix by just 2 seconds over his teammate Warren, and really, well, now they move up into 1-2 in the driver's standings. If I'm not mistaken, Renault as well have been able to mathematically wrap up the constructor standings as well after that 1-2 performance in that race. The second 1-2 of the season for the second 1-2, in a row for these two there. So fantastic result by the pair of them. DLC Jared in that trial roster doing very, very well to come through for P3. Jetson F1 did a fantastic job keeping the penalties low for P4. Massive was in P5, Death Row P6, Neon Trio down in P7 there with Funk Guru P8 and Aaron. But he did the 4-stop and 20 seconds worth of time penalties as well. And unfortunately for him, he is going to come through a lap down at the end of that race. But hopefully we'll try and get Ryan, Warden and DRC Jared in for the podium interviews. I haven't been able to get Jared in. So hopefully, I think we've got the other two in. We may have to try and invite Jared as we get back into the game. But James, Greek, I'll let you do the interviews, buddy.
Thank you. Yes, sorry to everyone watching the stream. Wasn't sure what happened there, but we'll get into the interviews. Start with New Zealand Ryan, race winner, championship winner. Congratulations, Ryan. Your thoughts on that race? The 1-stop worked for you, unlike Warden who switched to a 2-stop. What was the thought behind that?
I don't know. Just thought I'd try it. To be honest, if Warden didn't get the stop go, he probably would have won the race with my penalties. But oh well, that's the way it happened.
So as I mentioned, you're the first APAC Oceania AOR champion. Obviously, you would have liked to have had Ben along with the fight, but how do you feel? You feel happy? You're ecstatic? How are you feeling right now?
I don't know. It's obviously nice, but it would have been good to have been here, but obviously he couldn't be here.
We'll move on to Warden now in second place. Thanks for that, Ryan. Move on to Warden. Obviously, that 5-second penalty hurt you, Warden. Was it by a lot?
It was about 10 Ks.
Ooh.
9 Ks in the pits.
Did you just completely misjudge your braking, or was it?
No, I was just locked up while turning.
That's unfortunate. Did you know the penalties that Ryan had?
Yes, because I had a little birdie in the party.
So you move up to second place now. Is your goal for the remainder of the season to stay in second place?
Indeed. I'm pretty sure we have constructors wrapped up.
Yeah, you wrapped up the constructors as well. So congratulations to you guys on that. Move on to Jared in the third. Well done, Jared.
Cheers.
Tell us the race.
Yeah, pretty conservative. Didn't really have the pace to keep up with Ryan and Warden. So yeah, try to keep it clean. No way chucking it. No point chucking away a podium. So yeah, just keep it clean.
Ryan, back to you. So with the championship now wrapped up, is your mindset now to be helping Warden consolidate second, or are you going to be going hard, trying to win the last two races?
I will be going hard. We don't help each other here at Renault. I'm sure it's a popular belief.
And thank you for that. Thank you to the 3 podium people for wanting to do interviews. Thank you to Matt for doing almost the entire race on his own. Well done to him. And obviously Harry for setting up the stream. Hopefully I'll be back next week without any issues. And from everyone here, it's bye-bye, and we'll see you next week in Brazil.